Hi, thank you so much for joining into Worldview Talk Show. My name is Chantel Amos, and I am your host for today. And today I have with me Gwen Carr, the beautiful and wonderful woman that I have the pleasure of interviewing again. As many of you know, Gwen Carr is the mother of Eric Garner, and who unfortunately went through a tragedy that we have seen time and time again in today's society, and just there being such an injustice. And recently, many of you know, there was, the trial finally came to the conclusion where the police officer involved in that investigation actually was fired, though victorious a long time. Let's start off there. What are your thoughts and feelings on the results of it? I know you're happy about the results, but as far as in the timing.
Well, I really don't think they did enough. First of all, it took them 5 years,
Right.
5 years to fire one officer
Right.
when there was at least 12 officers involved in my son's death.
Right.
There were some officers who pounced on my son at the time. There were other officers who looked the other way.
Correct.
And still other officers who lied on official reports. And that should have been instant dismissal.
Yes.
And nothing was done. None of them have stood accountable.
Right.
So we just got an ounce of justice when that one police officer, Pantaleo, was fired.
Wow.
We need all of them to
So
be
it was
fired.
only 1 ounce, but we needed a lot more,
A
much
more.
greater weight.
Yes.
And that was leading to my next question of how do you think this is going to impact, or do you think that this made an impact towards the many more injustices that keep happening today?
Yeah, well, it's somewhat of an impact, but we need to have a stronger impact
Right.
because it was just like the commissioner, he did do the right thing by firing this officer
Right.
because the officer was definitely wrong,
Right.
but there were so many others.
So many others.
Yes.
And, that's something that is important to remember, that when any thing is done in this matter, when you have such authority,
Yes.
9 times out of 10, it's not just that one person's decision, because it either can come from where they were trained, how they were trained, or even how they grew up.
Yes, a lot of that plays a part, but no matter the training, if a person has their own agenda in mind, training is not going to help. Because in my son's case, when does the humanity kick in? My son is saying, I can't breathe.
Right.
11 times he's saying, I can't breathe. And he would not let up off him.
Right, and nobody
And
heard
nobody
it.
intervened, not even the EMS, not the officers on the scene, and even the officer who was in charge that day, he texted his commanding officer, Bannon, and said, Eric Garner is DOA, and the officer texted back and said, it's not a big deal.
Wow.
So we found this out
Wow.
at the court. So there was a lot of injustice done that day that we never found out about,
Right.
or we did find out after in the trial. So there's a lot more officers whose heads should roll.
Right, because
Yes.
I can imagine, they're thinking of, okay, one man is going to take the fault for it, and hopefully that's going to quiet everybody down and make them happy. But really,
No, it's not.
just a piece
It's not
of-
going
it's
to
just a
quiet
piece
me
of it.
down.
And no,
Even though the
absolutely not.
commissioner says that he's not going to charge any of the other officers,
Right.
I will push because we
We need to see it.
Yeah, we have to explore other avenues.
Right.
Even if we have to go back to the new D8 who's in charge now, he says that he can't open the grand jury minutes unless there's new evidence.
Oh.
Well, there is new evidence.
Okay.
We could see through the trial that everybody lied.
Right.
So that's new
That's the
evidence,
evidence
right there. Yes.
So they lied against the evidence that was already there,
Yes.
creating even more evidence.
Exactly.
Wow, that's pretty amazing tragedy is what it is. And I definitely commend you for keeping the composure that you have had, but also the endurance to keep pushing through no matter the obstacles.
Yes.
In the past 5 years, you've been through a number of serious challenges, beginning with your son, of course, but then your granddaughter, I believe, if I'm correct, had a heart attack? Correct?
Yeah, well, she had asthma. She had an asthma attack. She had a bad heart after she had her second baby.
Okay.
And but actually, she fought very hard for her dad, and she was out there on the forefront of all of his siblings. She was the only one that was really pushing for her father. Okay. And I really think she died of a broken heart.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Wow. My goodness. And then the recent passing of your husband, Ben.
Yes.
How are you managing to hold it all together?
Well, it's not easy. It's not easy because my husband's death, it came as such a surprise to me. You know, we were away for my daughter's wedding in Jamaica, and he died the day before the wedding.
Wow.
And that just threw everything off.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yes.
Wow. Well, we're definitely praying for you. Absolutely. And
thank you.
I know that we know each other only through here, but when I say I'm willing to help, I'm willing to help.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And I also thank you for taking the time and coming on the show and just being transparent, because that definitely takes a whole other side of boldness, which I pray allows you to be stronger and stay stronger.
Yes.
And make an impact also to those that go through a lot also.
Yes, there's a lot of people who goes through a lot that people doesn't even know their name.
Right.
They never get any time or any articles in the paper to even show the tragedy that has happened to them.
Right.
So we, the ones who do get a platform, we must include them in our platform.
Wow. What are your thoughts on the most recent, what is her name? Yeah,
I know who you're talking about. The officer in Texas. Got it. Yes. I try to forget her name.
And I only bring it up because as I was watching a few videos, a lot of people were saying that there was a justice made for all of the names that were forgotten. I was watching the trial and seeing how she responded, and seeing how, even the 911 phone call was really more about her concern for her job.
Yes.
And that's what really wrecked me.
That always happens. That the same thing happened in the Carr case.
Okay.
Same thing happened in this case.
Wow.
Everybody was concerned about their job, nothing about the victim.
Now, and then I'm sitting here thinking, wait, if you're a police officer, and no shade to great police officers out there at all, but you're to protect. So your job is already taking the focus off of you. Your job is to focus on external to protect the actual community in itself.
That's what it should be.
That's what it should be.
Yes.
But somewhere down the line,
no.
I don't know if it was ever that way 100%.
It's a different aspect with them. Because you could tell, even if you listen to portions of the trial, things that she said, that she was a racist. She even made a statement. There was a statement made about, I let them know, talking about the people of color.
Right.
He said, by me wearing black all the time, I'm ready for their funeral.
Wow.
That was some statement to make.
Wow.
And even when they asked her, did you mean to kill him? When you went in there, did you mean to kill him? She said,
She said yes, as opposed to find out who's in the house.
Right. But there is something wrong with the whole picture.
The whole picture.
Because, first of all, even if I'm that tired and I go to another apartment, if I see the door, if you're in law enforcement, you're supposed to be trained, oh, wow, my door is ajar, let me call for backup.
Right.
That's the first thing you should do. Why are you going there? You don't know how many people are in there.
Right.
So that right there showed me that there's something
There's
wrong,
something wrong.
you know. And then they said he had a red rug in front of his door. She had a plant in front of her door. What? I mean,
Like two totally different things.
and then when you get in there, don't you know that's not your furniture?
Right.
You
Right.
know, so
And if you're taught to be aware of your surroundings,
supposed to be
and
visual.
everything, you're supposed to be beyond visual. Then you would see a person on the couch, then you'd see everything else.
yeah, that's right.
And then say, "I'm so sorry."
Yes,
and
exactly.
back out.
But you went in there with the intentions
You had to.
of really killing who was in
Right,
that apartment.
right.
You know, so I have no sympathy for her. And I think it was a disgusting scene for that brother to, okay, if you are going to forgive, you don't have to forgive in front of the whole
In front of
world.
the whole world, yeah.
You know, because that looked very tacky. Because I don't know if one of my sons or daughter had did that. I don't even know if I want to own them anymore, because you took an innocent life. This person was not on the street. This person was unarmed. This person had no business dying.
Right.
And you took his life, and I'm going to feel sorry for you, and you did it under the worst of circumstances.
Right.
You didn't stop to think at all
Right.
when you took this person's
Right.
life.
Maybe he, had it from a perspective of grace, and compassion, as far as, and I'm sorry for the type of person that you are to have even done that. But I do understand, I'm a woman of God, so I want to apply the word wherever I can, but also, just be mindful of the whole matter.
But do you
But to
think
do
if
it in
it
front
was
of everybody,
and
the way that
if it
he
was
did.
reversed, would she had hugged him?
Definitely not. And
Okay.
it's never my expectation. This is
Yes,
from my
yeah,
personal,
yes.
view and belief and total understanding of the sensitivity of it, 100%. So seeing that had happened, then I want to dig a little deeper and say, okay, well, maybe that's where it came from. Again, I don't know if I would have ever been able to do that in public that way, because then it could look just completely weird.
Out of context.
And out of context.
Yes,
But
because because like they said, a different attitude was going on in the hallway, like with his mother, and I have met his sister.
Oh, okay.
And that's a hard pill to swallow.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially from one of your family members.
absolutely.
And if you was going to do it, why you do it? You're making a mockery of us to do that.
So you think it was a mockery to forgive her and feel bad for her because of
in public like that, yes.
Right.
I think it was.
Okay.
But everybody has their own way of doing things. But I just think, for me, that would never happen with me. Even if I wanted to forgive a person, he's forgiven her at the level as, okay, all is forgiven, come to the family picnic.
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. Do you think that maybe this approach being so different might help instead of hurt? Because you can say the community, the viewers, however you want to put it, that's not usually how it goes. Do you think it might soften them a little bit, or
soften
maybe the perspective of
the people who's viewing?
Yeah.
Well, it depends on who's viewing it. A lot of people, I've heard phone calls on TV, on radio, and people are outraged with it, being that it was the brother. Maybe if it was a cousin or a
but because it was
friend.
so close,
yes,
it's hard for them to understand.
I can't see somebody took, just like my son. When that officer or those officers took my son's life, now I'm a person of God, but I could not see in my heart to forgive them. And when people ask me now, have you ever found in your heart to forgive them? I says, I am a Christian person, but I am not there yet.
Okay.
So
and that's
I just want to be real with people.
But that's totally important to own that, and that you even say that you're not there yet. Acknowledging you want to, but you just can't right now.
And if I forgive, I'm forgiving for me. I'm not forgiving for them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I'm never going to forget what they did to my son.
And that's understandable, 100%.
But, they says you have to forgive for yourself so you can go on living,
That's correct.
that you could release the anger and the hatred in you, and which is true. But sometimes you could do it, I think you could do it with God. I think you could ask God to soften your heart.
Yes.
And I could forgive through God. I don't have to go through to him and say I forgive him.
He deals with everyone absolutely differently.
Yes.
And, you know, he knows every situation that we go through and understands that for sure. So it was, you know, again, something very interesting, something different. But yet again, here we are, and it's another thing and another thing and another thing.
And it keeps happening. It's different if that would change the world.
Right.
It's not changing the world. It's not changing the deep-seated hate that they have for us.
Right.
So, you know, like I said, if you have this in your heart, you go to the Lord with it.
Right. Absolutely.
I'm not going to the person because, see, this person can be incorrigibly evil, and there's nothing I could say or do that's going to change him. Only God could change his heart.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. I know it's definitely a touchy subject, but something that I wanted to explore, considering it just happened.
Yes.
So one thing, we've actually reached out to a couple politicians on Staten Island, Congressman Max Rose and Councilman Joseph Borelli. And the feedback that we got was that they were unable to make it, and the councilman never replied to our email. We really wanted them to come and share with you and our viewers that their ideas on how to better improve relations between the police department and the community that they serve. If we were able to make this happen, what would you say could help better improve communication between them and the community?
Well, like you just said, one couldn't make it, the other one didn't respond. This is our problem right now. We can't get together on things. When there's an election, everybody is out. You know, they would have been right here, you know, smiling and saying what, you know, they could do to make a better neighborhood, to do the betterments of the neighborhoods. But now they are too busy to come out. So this is the way I look at it. Since my son's death, I've been looking a lot at politicians. I've been looking a lot at what they do. And me, I don't write letters, I don't make phone calls, I go up in their face so I could see and I could feel what they're thinking, you know. And that's why I go to Albany, I go to Washington, and I go and I meet with them, because this way it's a more of a contact, it's an eye-to-eye thing, and what you say to me, I can say back to you and say, oh, are you willing to do so and so and so? Will you get on this bill? Are you telling me this? I go take roll call, see who's with me and who's not. So now at election time, I know who's with me and who's not. You know? So that's who I'll go to, you know, who they say, well, who are you for? Well, I would tell them, well, I'm not going to be for this person because they not even on the issues with me. So and so. You know, I would vote for this person because this person stood up for me, you know, when I needed them to stand up for me. So, you know, this is the way I have to do things now. You know, because politicians are full of politics.
Oh, that's good. That's unfortunately true.
Yes.
And it has a lot to do with, you know, even when it comes to a lot of us, you know, in our lives. Everyone is out for themselves or to look a certain way. And that is only going to go so far. But unfortunately, when it comes to politics or anyone that has any great authority, they usually have a lot of money and a lot of weight behind them to allow them to make those decisions because they're going to be covered.
Exactly.
But I really respect you getting up and out there and taking charge and not being afraid of what they're going to say to you.
No, because we never know what they're going to say. Me and the other New York mothers, that's when we went and asked Governor Cuomo for the executive order for the special prosecutor. When what this does is when these senseless killings take place of our unarmed children, it takes it out of the hands of the local DA and puts it in the hand of the state attorney general. We went up there, we asked for to speak with him about it. He wouldn't have a press conference with us. He wouldn't have a sit down with us. We went back up there we had a press conference calling him out.
Right.
He still wouldn't have a sit down with us. So the next time we went up there, we took makeshift coffins of our children
Wow.
and sat them in front of his door and
Oh,
asked
my
him what he's going to
goodness.
do about these bodies. Then he had a sit down with us.
Wow.
And he told us that if at the end of session his special monitor wasn't passed, he would sign an executive order for the
Right.
special prosecutor for us. And lo and behold, it wasn't passed. So he said he would do it.
Right.
So we went up there, and he showed us what he had written out, and we read it. And we brought a lawyer with us,
Okay.
a lady lawyer.
Okay,
And
yes.
she says, well, I think we should look at this overnight because I see, a few loopholes in it.
Right.
And so he says, well, I think you should let me sign it because if I drop dead tonight, the next
Wow.
governor is not going to sign it.
Oh, my
And Miss
goodness.
Baez, the lady who's been on the forefront for over 20 years, she just pointed her finger at him and said, you just don't die. and yes.
That's one smart woman.
She is. And then the lawyer, she was on the phone with them all night long saying, because they had in there things like only uniformed police officers.
Okay.
The executive order would only last for a year.
Okay.
So we had them, the stuff that we wanted them to take out, they did take 90% of the stuff. They
Okay.
modified 95%, 90 or 95%
Wow.
of what we asked for.
Wow.
So the next day he had us come to, I think it was John Jay College, and then he had all the big wigs there, and watching him sign the executive order for the special
Because he
prosecutor.
didn't die the next day.
Yeah, right. Exactly. So that was one of our accomplishments, and we
That's
are on
amazing.
the Stat Act for New York. Want to know what the statistics of the people, because they say they don't keep records of the people who are killed by the police. The unarmed people, the how old they were they
They don't
raised.
keep records?
This is, and that's a lie because anything
No,
that
they
happens.
don't publicly expose the records. you mean.
Exactly, that's what it is.
Wow.
So we are, representing the Stat Act. We want to know everything about
Right.
the people who you kill.
Wow.
And then we have the Safer New York Act that I'm on,
Okay.
and the Right to Know Act. I'm on a
Right.
lot of things
Yes.
that people don't know. They see me on TV.
Yes.
But I'm trying to do a lot of things to make this a better
Wow.
state, a better America.
Wow. Well, I'm proud to know you, absolutely. And this puts a fire in me. A lot of us, we sit, with aspiring dreams to make more money,
Yes.
or to help somebody out. But this is not just helping one person out.
Yes, it's helping
a nation.
a nation. That's
A
what we have to
nation.
do. It's too late for me, the mothers of the movement, because there's thousands of mothers of the
My
movements, and it's too late for our children, but we have to go and help and save other children. We have to give mothers a platform who doesn't have a platform. We have to just talk about it and let mothers know you have to say your child's name. You have to lift up your
Right,
child's
right,
name,
right,
because
right.
nobody can do it better than you.
Wow. Wow. Ooh, thank you for sharing that. The last question is, do you feel that the Black community, namely the Black church, could play an important part in the whole scenario of a communal harmony?
I definitely do. A lot of Black churches are coming to the forefront, but before they were in their comfort zone. And they needed to get out of their comfort zone.
Right.
They were there on Sunday to collect the tithes. Monday through Saturday,
Right.
you didn't see them.
Okay.
Things were going on in the street. They didn't want it to touch them, so they didn't get out there.
I see.
But we need all of them to come out, stand up, and be counted.
Wow. That's amazing. And that's definitely, we have a responsibility as children of Christ. He's given each and every one of us an assignment.
That's right.
Just like anyone does it at their job or in school And if you don't really stand up to that,
Right.
you can't live in your full potential.
And going to different churches, I have found out that there are ministers, there are pastors that are living up to that responsibility.
Absolutely. Yes.
But then you got some that's
But as a
laid
whole,
back, and it's about them collecting the tithes and everything. So they have to get up.
Right.
And do something about
Well,
what's
get up
going
and
on.
wake up.
Right? Yeah, they
really
need to wake up and stay woke.
Yeah, because then we can really come together, and it's not just you and the mothers. Not to say that there isn't power there at all, but knowing that there's more behind you.
Right.
And then even to make a difference in the everyday actions as a community would make a big difference, because what we believe in is that we have the power, right?
That's right. But you have to assert it.
But we have to hand it out.
Yes.
We have to actually say this is what we have, and we have to believe it. The Lord said that He has equipped us, but are we using the tools?
That's right. And that's where people is misinformed. They say, oh, well, I'm going to pray. But they tell you faith without work is dead.
Exactly.
So
absolutely.
You pray about what you need to change, and now you get up and try to make a change, or get somebody together and make a change.
Right.
You don't think that the Lord is just going to pour it down from heaven. He's going to give you the equipment.
He's going to give the strategies.
To do it.
And the ideas, absolutely, absolutely, and ways to be able to reach Congress, to be able to reach certain areas, and even just asserting the boldness that He's asserted in you and the other mothers, to be able to stand up for those that, don't have as strong of a voice.
Yes.
Unfortunately, because you've had this tragedy happen, it has created a platform.
Yes.
Right? So that now you're taking advantage of that. You're making an advantage of that.
Yes.
And for good, not for something just for you.
No.
Because some people, they might get a little lost in that.
Oh, they do. They do. So that's why I just have, because some mothers, people don't know, some mothers can't get out of bed, some mothers on medication, some mothers just want to forget the situation. And when I have my events, I invite all mothers, anyone who can come, and we try to empower them, we try to embrace them, and try to just do positive things with them so that they can get up out of that slump that they're in.
Right. Do you ever invite mothers that are not in that situation so that they could also be of help?
Yeah, there's other mothers that come.
Okay.
Yeah, too.
Okay,
yes.
good.
Yes.
Wow. We sit here and, we're breathing.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And we're awake and we have an agenda of certain things, whether it's doing laundry or the dishes or telling our children what to do, or, my husband's sock is on the floor again and again,
I know.
But all of that is nothing. It's no big deal. It actually means a lot. Is really what I mean.
Yes.
We take a lot of those things for
granted. That's so true.
Absolutely. One time I had read, it was a Christian blog, I cannot remember where it's from, but talking about how she had lost her husband. So she was explaining how when he was alive, she would always get on him for, leaving the laundry out. And then after he had passed, she's like, I can't tell him to do that anymore.
Right.
Something so simple.
So simple. Or things you take for granted, because I know, like with my husband, I'm always, Ben, would you walk over to the bank? Ben, go to the store, go to McDonald's for me, or bring me this. And I just thought nothing of it.
Right.
And now when I think about it, that's all gone, and I miss that. I really do. I miss him. Even when we fuss, when he's talking about...
You miss the fuss, right? Yeah. Because that makes a part of, everyday life and growth. Wow. Well, thank you again so much for coming on the show and taking your time to be transparent with us and to reveal to us a better way of living even after life is gone.
Yes.
And I pray that this encourages men and women of all ages, of all stages in life, whether you know the Lord or not, we pray that this ignites something in you, and to do something different today, to believe in a cause and to stand up for it, and not just say I'll be there and then keep on moving. So thank you so much for joining us today at Worldview Talk Show. Please follow us on YouTube, like and subscribe, and comment. We would love to have a conversation with you about this segment and many more. And please come back and feel free to let us know what you would like to hear. Also on Facebook, you can find us again, Worldview Talk Show. God bless and have an awesome day.